Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 392, Christ Awareness and Birth. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host. I'm here today in my home studio. So excited to be here. I took a little bit of time off recently and it just felt great. So I'm coming back with a lot of energy and really honored to bring you the show, honored to receive your gifts of support, and so happy to share this time with my producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore. So Sean, welcome into the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to share this time with you too, and with all of you. Happy Monday, everybody. Today is, of course, Monday, December 22nd. It is the week of Christmas, everybody.
Wow.
It's here. If you can believe it, the year is coming to a close.
Yes. And we're excited about Christmas. Sean, I know I speak for you because we've talked about it many times about how much we love this holiday.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been ready and waiting for it for months.
Exactly. Well, and it's also special that you have some family in as well to celebrate this year, right? So
yes. Yeah. Very excited about that. So yeah, I'm just returning also. It was nice to have a little bit of time away, but it's great to be back together and recording and to be back, back at it. Yeah. My folks are now here from Ohio for the winter. I drove them down last week and, we got a great place for them right nearby us, only 5 minutes down the road.
That's amazing. That's divine order, man.
I'm telling you, everything about this place, I've been saying that is divine order. Like we weren't even looking for a place. They were going to stay here with us for the whole winter. And we literally stumbled across this place that was fully furnished, ready to move into. I mean, didn't need anything but their personal effects, to bring them up. So, I mean, everything about it and the way it all happened and the purchase of the home and all of that stuff, it just seemed to present itself to us in a way that, I've experienced before, that divine order kind of thing, but never to something on that level, so.
I know. And I want to lift up, Sean, that, I think it's no accident that as your journey has deepened, these things are happening for you more. Because I've seen it, I've felt it, I've experienced it energetically. Your God connection has really deepened. Your prayer work, and I'm saying this to say to all of our listeners, many of you have felt this. You know what it feels like to almost be on the edge of your seat, wondering what's next. And that's kind of how I felt recently. A couple of really nice things have happened recently, and it was like, oh, thank you, God. I just almost laughed out loud because of the divine order of it all. So it was a lot of fun, even including recently learning to play a new instrument, which kind of fell into my lap. I'm excited to experience. I'm going to do it for you, Sam, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Okay.
Well, but it was a divine order thing as well. So anyway, friends, happy to have you along the journey with us, especially during this holy time. And today is a beautiful show. But first, Sean has a word.
That's right. So as we step into this week of Christmas and we move toward the final days of the year, we all know this is it's a very spiritually rich stretch of time, not just across, our traditions, but many traditions, many faiths.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you a couple of meaningful observances that are happening this week that can kind of support your reflection and your practice as you move into the days ahead. So starting with today, Monday, December 22nd, we are in the final night of Hanukkah. So Hanukkah continues through tonight with Jewish families lighting the last candles of the menorah. These closing moments of the Festival of Lights remind us that hope often shines brightest near the end of the journey, when the last bit of oil still holds steady long enough to carry us forward. So again, happy Hanukkah to all those who celebrate, and we're holding that light with you in our hearts.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Sean, that reminded me of a real funny thing. I am going to send the link to you. A pastor talking about oil. Okay. Just help me remember to send you that. It's a funny thing on Instagram, but it's really about knowing We all have within us exactly what we need, and what we need will be provided. So that's great. It really goes
Beautiful.
with your idea, our celebration, you know?
Yeah, excellent. We'll include that in the show notes for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this Wednesday, December 24th, is Christmas Eve. So, this is across Christian communities. Christmas Eve is a night of quiet wonder and sacred expectancy.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, we have candle-lit services and beautiful music and prayer as we pause to remember that love often arrives gently and through humble beginnings and open hearts. This is a night that invites us to breathe deeply, to slow down, and to welcome the Christ light exactly where we are.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. It's perfect for our show today. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Of course, the following day, Thursday, the 25th, is Christmas Day. Now, Christmas morning celebrates the birth of Jesus, a story centered in hope, incarnation, and God within us. For many, this day is a reminder that the divine shows up not only in grand revelations, but in everyday life, in kindness offered, in peace extended, and love shared freely.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Friday the 26th takes us into Kwanzaa. That is going to be beginning December 26th and continuing through January 1st. Kwanzaa, of course, honors African and African American heritage through 7 principles. The Nguzo Saba. So that is the first principle. The first principle is actually Umoja, which means unity, calling families and communities toward connection, mutual care, and shared purpose. So happy Kwanzaa to all.
Happy Kwanzaa, friends.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love the principles of Kwanzaa. I mean, I don't know how you could disagree with the 7
with any of
principles.
it. I mean, and again, it's all, we're all saying the same thing. I mean, it's just
exactly, friends. It's just from different traditions. And that's what we keep trying to lift up. You know, Sean, this segment has become so important for so many people. It's like, oh, you know, not most of us are not going to do the work to search on all that. So, you know, the fact that you're doing that and bringing that into the show and into the channel is great, because it's what we've always stood for. And we're just being more mindful. We're going to have more guests even on the show next year, you know, of different religions. And I think, you know, that's going to help all of us understand and see our sameness and our unity, that word that we keep coming back to, instead of our differences, even though, of course, there are differences. You know, those differences are not scary. Those differences are to be celebrated and to learn. And that's what I love. You know, it's about our shared humanity. And I mean, the good news is, in general, this time of year, more people are thinking that way, you know, but I'm not sure what happens the rest of the year. But,
right. That's the part of it. Like, keep that feeling with you all through the year. This is how we should be feeling. This is how we should be behaving and
all
showing up.
All
year long.
Yes.
This Saturday, December 27th, is what's known as Maulid An-Nabi. So this is in many Muslim communities, depending on the calendar that they use. This day commemorates the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, celebrating his teachings of compassion and generosity and justice. It's a moment to reflect on what it means to live with integrity and tenderness toward others. Beautiful. And finally, just for fun, this Sunday, December 28th, is National Call a Friend Day, which I think is very important in this time that can be a very lonely time for some people. So this is a simple, lighthearted reminder that reaching out, especially during this week of the holidays, really can be a meaningful act of love. You never know when one phone call really can brighten someone's whole entire holiday season.
What day is that, Sean?
That's going to be Sunday, the 28th.
Oh, Sunday the 28th. Okay, thank you.
This coming
I didn't know
that
was a new one for me. Yeah, I love that idea.
Me too. Yeah, I actually wrote it in my calendar too. I'm going to be making some calls.
Yeah, well, and many of you know that I've taken my classes over time, that one of the things I recommend is to have on your refrigerator, or, you know, posted where you can see it easily, is your 5 people that are on your support list. And, you know, and if you're feeling down, you know, you just start going down that list so that you don't go down so low, you know, that you can't come back up. We really want you to know that there's support and love for you. And sometimes reaching out is just what you need to do, you know?
Absolutely.
And that can make somebody's day. It's called National Call a Friend Day. Is that what it is?
Yeah, National Call a Friend Day.
Love it.
This Sunday, the 28th. And finally,
Mm-hmm.
friends, something to think about as you move into this very special week. Where might a simple act of light, whether that is kindness or connection or unity, help you close this year with intention?
Yes.
I'll let you think
Beautiful.
about that for a moment as we officially welcome you to episode 392 of the Experience of the Soul podcast for Monday, December 22nd. This is Christ, Awareness, and Birth.
Thank you so much, Sean. Yes, what a beautiful segment today. It's made me very mindful and thoughtful. And friends, if we could remember our connectivity with God and each other, the behaviors we see in our world would change absolutely overnight if we could all do it as a collective unit and people. And it is a busy week. And so for those of you listening to the show, I honor you for your commitment to your journey by touching in. And I know some of you may hear this after the holiday, and that's really okay too. But we want to stay really with the energy of this season. And I feel so strongly that the birth of the Christ is really the most important moment in history. I believe that we still celebrate it because of its magnificence and what it meant to humanity at that time and what it means for us again today. And the idea, of course, that I'm talking about this Christmas is about God being made man. You know, until the birth of Jesus, God seemed way, way far away. You could only get to God, you know, through the priests in the temple, and you know, God was not available to us in the same way it seemed. God was available, but once God was known through Jesus the Christ, this was God made man. In other words, Jesus was sent to a troubled people at a troubled time. And I believe this Christ energy and essence is what we need today. I firmly believe, my friends, that life and managing life's challenges and up and down journey is easier, full of more grace and peace when Christ is the center. This is true of my own life and world. And as I say this, I want you to know whatever your journey is, I honor you, but this is my journey. And this is my journey of the Christ. And I wanted to share with you that, you know, I am a unity minister. And so often in unity, you know, we're looking for the deeper message and we're saying what is beyond the literal words. And sometimes we get tripped up at all the symbolism and we forget to hone into the simple truth. The simple truth is that Jesus's birth was a miraculous birth. And some people will say, well, do you believe in the virgin birth? And my answer is absolutely. Absolutely, because I believe in miracles in my life and in my work. I have seen and experienced miracles over and over and over. I have seen health miracles. I have seen somebody that had a tumor the size of a grapefruit 2 days later have nothing. I've seen someone go in for heart surgery that suddenly didn't need heart surgery because everything was healed. I have seen a human being create fire from his own hands, literally be able to create fire energetically by starting something on fire with the energy from his hands. So I believe miracles are possible. And I love the magic of this season and what this Christ essence is really about. And the idea for me of this season is to see Christ everywhere. It's like I want an expanded Christ awareness in my life and in my world. So it's like I literally am looking for the good. I'm looking for the good. I'm looking for the Christ energy out in my world. And I do want to talk about some of the symbolism, but I don't want you to get so caught up in the symbolism that you forget the most simple truth that Christ was born to be known in, through, and as us. Christ was born as a gift and savior to the world. Christ was born so that we know God and that we live that God light in the world. Christ was not born to separate us if somebody believed and somebody didn't. Christ was born to know love, to know God, to have this expanded idea of who we are, that our connection with God is possible, that our living our Christ light in the world is possible, and that God is right here with us, literally in our very heart, in our very soul. And that if I can just turn my mind again to the truth that the Christ lives within me, life gets better, life gets easier. I am full of light and grace and joy and peace. And sometimes that is a moment by moment journey. Sometimes it takes a great deal of effort to get back to that Christ presence. Sometimes it is turning everything off and saying a prayer and then being very, very quiet and silent. You know, one of the things I love to do at the holidays, especially after I've decorated my tree, is at night, turn all the lights out except for the lights on the tree and just sit in that peaceful energy. And when I do that, there is a calm and peace that comes over me, and that peace is the Christ energy. I know it is. I know Christ personally. I'm not reading about it in a book. I know Christ personally. The Christ energy is alive in me. I know Jesus as my friend, as my way shower, and yes, as my Savior. I know Jesus in a very simple way. And so this season, my goal is to have more Christ awareness and honor that birth of the Christ that was known on earth and also in me. And I want to speak a little bit about how, you know, our consumerism and commercialism can take over the spiritual aspect. And so all I'm trying to do is bring back that spiritual aspect and say, no, look at this, look at this. And even in the lights and everything, we can start to see how those things are representative of the Christ. And we can see how the story of Jesus's birth has great symbolism for our lives. So both are true. There's a very simple, for me, childlike belief and wonder at the holiday. There is a broadening of my awareness every single Christmas as I know more of the Christ personally and as I can see more of the Christ around me in the world. I do that through some of the symbolism and sometimes through none of the outer holiday stuff, and going up and looking at a star in the sky and saying, yes, God is here. God is with me. You know, there was a Cherokee teacher. She even wrote a book. I'm sorry, I'm spacing on her name right now. I'll try to have it for you, Sean, so we can put it in the show notes, because I have the book nearby, but I don't want to stop the show to run find the book. But she talked about celebrating Christmas and turning off all the lights in the house and going outside and saying that the stars were the best Christmas lights that she had. And I loved that simplicity. And I love all of it. I love Santa. I love the lights. I love the idea of the reindeer. I love the cheesy stuff. I love Christmas pajamas. And, you know, I love all of it. I love all of it. But I think if we don't have that simple awareness of Christ in us, that simple awareness of Christ's birth and what Christ's essence came to teach us, that the outer stuff can be very, very empty. And, you know, I've seen a lot of families and kids over the years. And I used to be a youth director before being a minister. And I worked with a lot of kids programs as well before that as a teacher and youth orchestra conductor. So I've worked with kids many, many years. And I knew the kids who had a faith walk based on how they would view some of the holidays. Every kid wants stuff for the holidays, but the things were not it. The things were representative of their church and their spiritual experience, even at a young age. my son is a great example, and you all heard him last week on the show with me talking about stress-free Christmas. But the kids who only have the stuff, they'll get the stuff, and then a day or two later, it's like they never got it. They're not happy anymore. And when you're happy, when you know God, when your family has a spiritual practice of some kind, the things are fun and they sustain because you know it's part of the divine aspect. It's part of the divine aspect in that every gift is representative of the Christ energy. So all of these things are subconscious. I'm not saying 7 and 8-year-olds are walking around going, thank you for this skateboard. This is representative of the Christ. But there is this sense of fulfillment, knowing their connection to God, knowing their connection to their family, knowing their connection to the Christ. And the things then just seem like fun gifts to enjoy. But if you only have gifts to enjoy, it can be very, very empty this time of year. As someone who does counseling, this time of year is the highest call volume of any other time of year. And the reason is there is depression, there is a lack of connection, there's lack of purpose, and there are, unresolved issues of family. So this that I'm speaking of today, this going back to the very simple faith and knowledge of Jesus the Christ, that his birth was God loving us enough to send his son, that this is a very, very special time. And this will help every mental, emotional, and even physical condition because of what it does in the very heart and soul of you. Having said this, no one can give you this connection. This will be incumbent upon you to set aside the time in the busiest season probably of the year for you, to make time every single day, just a little time, to be at peace and to be quiet and to nurture that connection. And, as you think of the story this year, I'm sure so many of our listeners will be, in church and things like that. And you'll probably hear a lot about the story of Mary and Joseph. And I think that so much of the story is symbolic about the inner aspect to welcoming the Christ into our heart in a deeper way. And I think Joseph largely gets left out of the story because it's hard for many people to see his purpose. But I mean, obviously, Mary, for me, is about her willingness to serve in the very highest way and to be an open vessel to bring Christ into the world. That as she gave birth to Jesus, who became Christed, which means the anointed one, that her story is one of willingness. It's one of surrender. It is one of unconditional love for humanity. And we know from the scriptures that she was quite young. So this was also a symbol, not of her actual age, but that we must become as a little child to accept and know God and to birth the Christ in us. And I think that is very, very important to remember, that it is not what you know. It is simply the condition of one's heart and soul that allows this birth to happen, this surrendering of the personal and being alive and welcoming the spiritual, what I will call the intuitive aspect, this aspect of the soul that wants so deeply to know and connect with God. And I think that Joseph, even though he becomes a father to Jesus, an outward father, I think in metaphysically, or internally, that he becomes a little bit of a guide, of a protector of that which is most sacred and spiritual. And so, in our journey throughout this Christmas and through the holiday season, there may be an aspect of yourself, that of your spiritual nature, that you want to protect. I've certainly been in situations, and I'm sure you have as well, where maybe not everybody is honoring and respectful of your journey. And there may be times where you need to there may be times where you need to excuse yourself from a situation because the energy is not supportive or honoring of your spiritual practice or of your divine nature. I've had to do it myself, as I mentioned. So think about that. Is there some aspect of Mary or Joseph or, that intuitive nature or that protective nature that's wanting to come in and through this season? Is there an aspect that God is working with you on? And finally, this energy of the Christ being born in us is that this knowing Jesus and knowing the Christ personally are ideas and experiences that expand literally the heart and soul. Like it can feel like your heart and soul are expanding as you know more of the truth of God in your very own self. And so what I'm seeking to do this holiday is see this, know this. Again, to expand my Christ awareness and then honor that birth of more of the Christ in me. So often in our spiritual journey, we hear to accept Christ into our hearts. And for a lot of people, that seems to be where it stops and their behavior stays the same. But what I'm seeking to do is know Christ in a greater and greater way every day. And certainly every year at Christmas, there's this heightened awareness. And I feel like because there's a heightened energy of joy and peace, and we say all those things, even though there's all this frenzy and consumerism. So again, I'm just trying to lift the light of awareness for us that in the midst of all that, we can drop some of that and move into this higher awareness of the Christ being birthed in a new way in us, and that maybe there is some new way that we are to grow spiritually during this most sacred of seasons. And so my hope for you as you go throughout the season is to honor your spiritual self, to honor the birth of the Christ in you, and to honor Jesus's birth so long ago, over 2,000 years ago, and to honor God as bringing this gift to us. And so as I look out on the lights, as I look out at my own tree and my own decorations, I'm going to be about recognizing those things that represent Christ. The lights on the tree are Christ being the light of the world. The red and white of Santa. Red is the color of life traditionally, and white is purity. So these are all aspects of the Christ. And Santa simply becomes a fun iteration of some of the aspects of the Christ, which is bringing gifts to all of us, knowing that the ultimate gift was Christ himself. So my friends, I hope you will take time to love well, to be about the joy and light and peace and love of this season. My hope for you is that you will continue to be guided, to be supported, to be blessed, and that you will seek to be a blessing to others by living this Christ awareness in your life and in a greater way in your family and then in the outer world. So be in prayer about, is there some aspect of this journey to Christmas that I'm being asked to grow and expand in my awareness? Because I believe, my friends, we are guided. I believe we are blessed. And I believe this time of year has some rich, rich learning and very special energy for us. So I'm going to be doing the work myself, and I'm going to be lifting you up in consciousness. So many of you have reached out and thanked us for the show this year. And many of you have given financially too. And I just honor that. I honor that, and I tithe as well. And I love to give to places that support me this time of year. So my friends, we love you. We bless you. We thank you for your loving support. And I encourage you on the spiritual journey to know the Christ, to look around, to see Christ all around you, and then honor in that very simple way, that holy, holy birth that happened so many years ago. My friends, I wish you all the best, much love, and many, many blessings during this sacred holiday season. Merry Christmas, my friends, and blessings on the journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support this podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to cynthiaaliceanderson.com/donate. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated.